Yeah, it's a pleasure to say that it's the first time I think all season, with the exception of Russell, that we have to make some choices for this weekend. And I think we haven't been in a position all year. Obviously, we have a couple guys out on loan, but that's for their own development. But now we have the right numbers and everyone's back healthy again, with the exception of Russell, and I'm really happy to be in that position. And I think that's only going to help us going into this next stretch of games, which is going to be quite busy.
With Birnbaum back in the mix, and he's obviously building his fitness back up. What's your plan for him going forward now?
Keep him healthy, keep him in our squad for the remainder of the year. And so I've tried to make this pretty clear. I'm very happy to have his debut for 2024 with us and be able to come on against Philadelphia. I think he played probably 15 to 18 minutes in total with injury time. And so from that's a good jumping off point, but by no means, should you expect that he's going to start the next match or play 45 minutes or 90 minutes. And we're going to try to build him in the right way. And, we're going to a place in Atlanta that plays on turf, and that's not an ideal situation for someone like Steve. But he'll be in consideration for the weekend, that's for sure, in a certain role. And one more time, we have a match on Wednesday and a match the following Saturday. So this is a good time period to have someone like him as we build him back into full 90-minute fitness.
Do you remember when you first got hired for the job and you started to reach out to staff and to players? Do you remember your first interaction with Steve?
First interaction with Steve. I'd have to think about that one in person. I mean, I reached out to all the players individually whenever I got the job, but in person, I want to say that again.
Your impressions.
Yeah. Someone that is desperate to get this club into a winning position. He's experienced that before. He's experienced some really high points during his playing career for DC United, but I think over the course of the last few years, he's in a position where he wants to be a part of a winner as he comes into the later part of his career. And I say desperate because he was desperate to get back training. I mean, he's a competitor. This guy wants to win. And that was the first impression for me. And now we have that every day in training, and that makes a huge difference.
You obviously have a healthy team, and a season's a journey. You're always looking to build and get better. So as you reach this point and have to go back on the road, is there something you're thinking, we just need to do more of this, or as you try to complete the picture?
Yeah, I think I came across very positive from our performance against Philadelphia. And whenever I watched the match back, I'm still in that mindset. I thought that was some of the best stuff that we put together. So as we entered into match number 11, I think we were in a better way than the first match of the season. The mistakes that we're making to not see 3 points, you could say that that's a common trend for us to, drop points from a winning position. But how we're doing that, I think, is becoming more clear, and we're able to really focus in on some of the details of the areas that we're not as focused in. And set pieces is one of them, but it's not the obvious in set pieces for us. It's really, sometimes it's when we're in attacking set piece moments and we go to sleep a little bit and don't get set quick enough. And then it kind of leaves us open in the run of play. And we're not open in the run of play typically. I think that we're really solid against the ball. And these things are things that we've addressed, and I think we're going to continue to address it until we get it right.
And you said some of the best stuff. Can you describe, in your mind, what some of the best stuff is?
Really hard to break down, really hard to get behind us for the opponent to create chances against us. We disrupt the opponent, we win the ball, we go, we attack. And then the attack, I thought you saw, even more fluidity in terms of us with the ball, just being able to create overloads in the right areas, be able to make, final decisions in the final third and pick out the right players. A lot of numbers in the box. Entertaining. I think we were really entertaining. It was fun to watch, and we want to see that for 90 minutes with 3 points.
Jackson Hopkins got a start last week. Just the dynamic he adds when he's in your midfield.
Yeah, Jackson, I think, is an individual that's, you talk about from match 1 to 11, has really grown in a short period of time. And it's because he's for 19 years old, he is so professional and so mature. He's someone that comes in every day and if he makes a mistake and has a couple turnovers in a match, he's the first one to look at himself and say, I want to know how to improve that. And that's his mentality. And so I think anytime he's in the team, you see that aggressive style of play from us because that kid doesn't play with any fear, and I like that. I like that type of confidence.
Troy, when I watch Bartlett and McVay defend, they can be beat at times, but their arm movements and the way they box and fight with the arms and it's impressive. Is that something that you guys are working on, or because it's rare that you see two defenders in that same spot where they're getting their arms out and grabbing and hold, but to the point where they can do it to the point where the referee's not going to make a foul call, and is that something you guys work on?
Yeah, I mean, we work individually with players, and we work with them, on their positioning and just a lot of the habits that should replicate the match. And our center backs are often in 1v1 situations, so they have to be really smart and defend. They defend in high areas up the field, so there's a lot of space behind them as well. And one more time to allude to someone like Steve Birnbaum, even though he hasn't been in training throughout the entire season, he's always been involved, and he's helping coach those guys as well, just as much as I am. And he has that type of experience. I mean, he's a really savvy player. So those guys have done quite well, I think.
Thanks.
Yep.
Coach, you kind of mentioned being healthy right now in a span where you're playing 3 games in about a week. Just how important is it to have as many guys you have healthy?
Yeah, again, it's the first time in the season that we've been at this stage, and once more, we'd like to have Russell as well. That's a big player in our team, so we will miss him. But it's the healthiest that we've been, and it's nice to be able to see competition and training, and I think that only breeds a higher level of mentality for us to go and try to go into a place like Atlanta that's really difficult to get any points there when you have that type of competition internally. So we're going to need that. One more time, we're going to need that not only against Atlanta, but Red Bull next week and then Miami the following week.
What do you do with possibly training or a lineup when you have such a quick turnaround? Are there different lineups you're going to have to mix in? Is there different things you do at practice, lighter, heavier, etc.?
Not really. I mean, I think that going into next week, obviously the training cadence that we have will be a little bit different and a little bit lighter, clearly with a Wednesday match. But we don't try to go too heavy into preparations for Wednesday. We want to put our focus on Saturday, and once we come out of Saturday, then we'll look at Wednesday.
And you mentioned Steve coming back, but you've been saying how he's just been involved with kind of bringing some of the other guys up that are in the lineup while he was in his absence. How big is that to have his tutelage for some of the younger guys in the system?
Yeah, I mean, when you're Lucas Bartlett and you have a guy like Steve Birnbaum in a video session and he's giving him information, a player like that's going to listen. I mean, Lucas is very open-minded, as is Chris McVay, and really the majority of our guys. But when Steve says it, when I say something, obviously the guys have to listen. But whenever Steve says it, it's definitely a choice, and it's coming from a place of a guy that has played at a level that I certainly never did. So he has a lot of valuable experience, and he's just a humble guy that wants to, again, one more time, see us win and see us have success.
How's Massa done playing on the back? Because usually he's up a little higher. The other day he was back left.
Yeah, that's right.
How did you assess that, and how does that flexibility figure for him going forward?
Yeah, I think he did quite well with that. But that everyone was a little bit surprised by that. But he's done that with the Finnish national team in big matches. He's done that with his former club, so he knows that position quite well. And I think what it adds for us is he's a really good passer of the ball, particularly whenever things are in front of him. He can really play a pass that hurts the opponent. So I think that's also why you saw us be even a little bit different with the ball, particularly in the first half against Philadelphia. So I like that. It also allows him to be on the field with Jackson on the field and Clicky on the field, which, that hasn't always been the case, that all three of those guys are on the field at the same time competing for a similar spot.